The decades immediately following the formation of the Premier Grand Lodge of England in 1717 were awash with mock-masonic, neo-masonic and anti-masonic activity. Newspapers and pamphlets of the time carried numerous advertisements for lodge meetings and gatherings for newly minted Masonic organisations, all coming with impeccable historical lineage, some serious, some scurrilous, and some just outright bizarre. This video will look at just two of these advertisements, one from 1724 and one from 1726. Welcome to the wild world of Freemasonry, 1720s style. The Ancient Order of the Gormogons was a short-lived 18th century society, leaving no records or accomplishments to indicate its true goal and purpose. From the few published advertisements and notices, it would appear that its sole objective was to hold up Freemasonry to ridicule. The Gormogons are first heard of in a notice published in the London Daily Post and General Advertiser for September 3rd, 1724. The advertisement commences by giving the lineage of the Gormogons. Whereas the truly ancient noble order of the Gormogons, instituted by Qin Kwa Kai Po, the first emperor of China, according to their account, many thousands of years before Adam, and of which the great philosophers Confucius was ecumenicae vulgae, has lately been brought into England by a mandarin, and he, having admitted several gentlemen of honour into the mystery of that most illustrious order, they have determined to hold a chapter at the Castle Tavern in Fleet Street, at the particular request of several persons of quality. It then continues to provide the rules of admission. This is to inform the public that there will be no drawn sword at the door, nor ladder in a dark room, nor will any Mason be received a member till he has renounced his novel order and has been properly degraded. Nota bene, the Grand Mogul, the Tsar of Muscovy, and Prince Tokhmas are entered into this honourable society, but it has been refused to the rebel Meroways, to his great mortification. And it concludes with a promise of future wonders. The Mandarin will shortly set out for Rome, having particular commission to make a present to the ancient order of His Holiness, and it is believed the whole Sacred College of Cardinals will commence as Gorgomons. Notice will be given in the Gazette the day the chapter will be held. Sadly, no record of any meeting of the Gorgomons has ever been found. Occasional mention is found in various publications until the early 1730s, after which time they seem to have become extinct. However, the British Museum does hold a small collection of Gorgomon medals, which seem to have been minted as late as 1799. Antediluvian Masonry, as an organised group, never seems to have really existed at all. The only record of it comes in a 1726 notice of meeting published in London. This notice is remarkable in a number of ways. Firstly, it has obviously been written by someone with a very close knowledge of the craft and its traditions. Sprinkled throughout its text are fascinating hints of ritual in this early period. Secondly, it contains the first recorded reference to the letter G. Third, its style is flamboyant to the point of excess, making it an hilarious takedown of the excesses of both the ancients and the moderns. Antediluvian Masonry. This is to give notice to all Masons who have been made after the antediluvian manner, that there will be a lodge held at the Ship Tavern in Bishopsgate Street tomorrow, the 24th of this instant June, being the feast of St. John the Baptist, the forerunner of he who laid the first parallel line, there not being enough brethren assembled the last year to make a true and perfect lodge. There will be several lectures on ancient Masonry, particularly on the signification of the letter G, and how and after what manner the antediluvian Masons formed their lodges, showing what innovations have latterly been introduced by the Doctor and some others of the moderns, with their tape, jacks, movable letters, blazing stars, etc., to the great indignity of the mop and pail. One would think that this would be quite enough for one night's meeting, but the description goes on. There will likewise be a lecture giving particular description of the Temple of Solomon, showing which way the fellow crafts got into the middle chamber to receive their wages, and proving, without lettering or giving the first or second, that the 2 pillars of the porch were not cast in the Vale of Jehoshaphat, but elsewhere, and neither the honorary, Apollonian, or free and accepted Masons know anything of the matter, with the whole history of the widow's son, killed by the blow of a beetle, afterwards found 3 foot east, 3 foot west, and 3 foot perpendicular, and the necessity there is for a master to well understand the rule of 3. If that's not enough, the meeting will end in a grand, almost hysterical fashion. Lastly, there will be an oration in the Henleyan style on the antiquity of signs, tokens, points, grips, knuckles, wrists, right hands, bare bended knees, naked left breast, Bibles, compasses, squares, yellow jackets, blue breeches, mosaic pavements, dented ashlars, brooched turnals, jewels, movable and immovable, bow-bound boxes, oblong squares, acacia and mossy graves, delivered neither sitting, nor standing naked, nor clothed, but in due form, concluding with a genuine account of penalties, throats, tongues, hearts, sands, cables, shores, tides, bodies burned, ashes, winds, solemn obligations, etc. Nota bene, the wax chandler near Pall Mall will provide 3 great lights and a Gormogon to keep off the cowan and eavesdroppers. By order of the fraternity, Lewis Giblin, M.B.N. The eulogium on Masonry will not be deferred on any account. Sadly, after this magnificent introduction, nothing further was ever heard of the Antediluvians. Perhaps the Gormogon at the gate did too good a job of keeping off the cowan and eavesdropper. I hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into the febrile world of Masonry in the 1720s. In contrast to the deadly serious anti-Masonic movements 100 years later, these advertisements seem to have been produced by current and former brethren intent on mocking the practices of other lodges. Such mockery was to continue throughout the 18th century, ending only with the establishment of the United Grand Lodge of England in 1813 and the consolidation of the ritual we enjoy today.